There's a quiet part of you that's been waiting to be seen, to be held, and to be heard. It's the part of you that still carries the echoes of childhood, both the beautiful and the bruised. And whether you realize it or not, that part of you is influencing your decisions, your relationships, and even your ability to create the life you dream of. The truth is, your inner child holds the emotional blueprint for how you show up in the world, and healing that child might be the most powerful act of manifestation you ever commit to. The inner child isn't just a poetic concept, it's a psychological reality. It refers to the part of your subconscious mind that was formed in childhood, shaped by early experiences, family dynamics, and emotional attachments. Developmental psychologist Jean Piaget showed that by age 7, children have already formed basic belief systems about the world, whether it's safe or dangerous, whether love is conditional or freely given, whether they are worthy or not. These early beliefs don't just vanish as we grow. They get stored in the subconscious mind, operating in the background like a hidden operating system. And according to Dr. Bruce Lipton, author of The Biology of Belief, over 95% of our daily behavior is driven by subconscious programming, most of which was written during childhood. So if you find yourself self-sabotaging, stuck in toxic patterns, afraid of success, or unable to truly feel deserving of happiness, it's likely your inner child is calling out for healing. Manifestation is more than setting goals or reciting affirmations. It's about alignment between your conscious desires and your subconscious beliefs. If, on the surface, you say you want abundance, love, or success, but deep within you feel unworthy, unsafe, or unloved, your subconscious will resist the very thing you're asking for. It's psychological. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who blends neuroscience and quantum theory, explains that you cannot create a new future while holding on to the emotions of the past. If your inner child still feels neglected, rejected, or unsafe, your nervous system will stay in survival mode, and that mode is wired to protect you, not expand you. This is why people often feel like they're doing all the right things, but nothing changes, because the most powerful energy you're emitting, the one tied to your deepest identity, is still shaped by old pain. You might not realize it at first, but your inner child often shows up in the quiet patterns of your daily life. Maybe it's that harsh inner critic that never seems satisfied, always pushing you to do more, be better, never rest. Or perhaps it's the way you constantly seek approval, feeling uneasy unless someone validates your worth. You may notice that small things trigger big emotional reactions, or that you keep ending up in relationships that feel strangely familiar, echoing the dynamics of your childhood. Trust might be hard for you, or maybe receiving love and abundance makes you feel guilty or undeserving. These patterns aren't weaknesses or flaws. They're protective strategies your younger self developed to feel safe in a world that didn't always offer the love or security you needed. But those strategies, once helpful, might now be holding you back. They're gentle signs from your inner child, asking to be seen, understood, and finally healed. Let's start with reparenting. Reparenting is the process of giving your inner child what they didn't receive emotionally. This isn't about blaming your parents. It's about taking responsibility for your healing. Neuroscience shows us that the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can change. New neural pathways can be formed through conscious repetition, emotional regulation, and visualization. This is how reparenting works. You identify old emotional wounds, and you begin to meet those unmet needs. Now, as an adult. Dr. Gabor Mate, an expert in trauma and addiction, explains that trauma is not what happens to you, it's what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. And that inner reaction, those beliefs of unworthiness or fear, can be transformed through loving presence and awareness. As you begin to reconnect with your inner child, you may start to notice subtle shifts, patterns that once felt inescapable, overreacting, people-pleasing, emotional shutdown, begin to loosen their grip. You find yourself responding to situations with more calm and clarity, less urgency and shame. The constant need to prove your worth fades, and instead, you feel a quiet, growing sense of being enough, just as you are. Your relationships begin to reflect your healing too. The people you once felt drawn to, those who mirrored your childhood wounds, start to lose their pull, and in their place, you're drawn to something softer. Reciprocity, safety, honesty. You begin choosing connection that doesn't cost you your peace. And maybe for the first time, you stop abandoning yourself to earn love. Healing your inner child doesn't require perfection. It just asks for presence. It begins with a quiet moment of acknowledgement, where you pause long enough to feel the younger version of yourself, who still carries those early emotions. You might sit in silence, close your eyes, and imagine them, the child who once felt afraid, ignored, or misunderstood. Let them show up, however they need to. Writing letters to that child can be a powerful way to connect. Putting pen to paper can open emotional doors you didn't even know were still closed. Reassure them with words you never heard but always needed. You're safe now. You don't have to prove anything. You are enough just as you are. These aren't just words. They begin to rewire deeply rooted beliefs. In the process, your body will likely ask to be included too. Emotions live in your muscles, in your breath, in your nervous system. So bring in gentle practices like breath work, tapping, or trauma-informed movement to help release what talking alone can't reach. And sometimes, the most healing thing you can do is set a boundary. To lovingly remove yourself from spaces, people, or habits that continue to echo those old wounds. It's not about cutting off. It's about protecting the new space you're making for growth. It's not dramatic at first, but it's powerful. You stop blaming yourself for things that were never your fault. You begin to respond to life with more patience and less panic. The emotional outbursts that once surprised even you start to fade. Instead of over-explaining yourself, you take a breath and simply say, "No," or "This doesn't feel right." You begin to recognize your worth, not because someone finally gave you permission, but because you reclaimed it for yourself. You no longer chase people who make love feel like a test. You gravitate towards safety, consistency, and mutual care. And most importantly, you start showing up for yourself. You don't abandon your needs just to keep the peace. You choose peace and truth. Healing your inner child doesn't mean your past disappears. It means your past no longer controls you. It becomes a part of your story, not the author of it. Healing starts quietly, not with grand gestures, but with simple presence. Maybe it begins in a moment of stillness, when you pause, take a breath, and finally listen. You might close your eyes and picture that younger version of you, the child who was once confused, scared, or overwhelmed, and just sit with them. You don't rush in with advice. You just let them know you're here now and you're not going anywhere. As you heal your inner child, you begin to shift your identity. You move from being a victim of your past to becoming the conscious creator of your life. You're no longer trying to manifest from a place of fear or lack. You're manifesting from wholeness, from a nervous system that feels safe to receive, from a mindset that no longer doubts your worthiness. Studies on heart-brain coherence by the HeartMath Institute show that emotions like gratitude, love, and safety create measurable changes in the electromagnetic field of the body, which in turn influence the brain's chemistry, immune response, and even what you attract into your life. When your inner child feels safe, your body becomes a magnet for possibility. You didn't choose your early wounds, but you can choose to heal them. And in doing so, you create space for something extraordinary. The freedom to dream again. The power to manifest not just a better life, but a life that finally feels like your own. So take your time, be gentle, but don't stop. Because the life you've been waiting for, it's already waiting for you.